Hey, good evening, everyone, and welcome to another Black Podcasters Association live stream. Today, we have a very special guest, our host, the host of the Black Podcasting Awards for 2023 and the outreach manager of the Black Podcasting Awards. Some of you guys know her, the great Latrice Sampson-Richards. Thank you for being here, Latrice. It's a pleasure having you. It's a pleasure being a part of this. And I think today's special because we wanted to discuss uh, the reels, right? Do like a quick crash course into what's expected from the submission reel. So, with that being said, I will let you introduce yourself to everybody, and the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Corey, and thank you to the Black Podcasters Association, powered by Afros and Audio for just the partnership and for the support and just always being as supportive as possible to help our community. I'm very excited to be here tonight. As Corey said, my name is Latrice Sampson-Richards. I am the host of the 2023 Black Podcasting Awards. I am also the outreach manager for the Black Podcasting Awards. And so if you follow us on Instagram, which you should be following us on Instagram, okay, then over the last few weeks, we have been doing these live streams, talking about all of the different categories, talking about all of the different reasons why individuals, Black podcasters, should be applying for the Black Podcasting Awards. And one of the number one questions that we have received year over year over year has been, how do you submit a reel? Like, how do you put together a reel that gives you the best chance at winning? And so that's what we're talking about tonight. So make sure you have your paper and your pencil. Listen, I keep a notebook ready, okay? I got all my notes. I'm going to be giving y'all lots of really, really great information tonight. Make sure you have something to write that down with, okay? And also bring your questions. Drop those questions into the chat. If you're watching this on the replay, go ahead and comment #replay and post your questions too. If you have questions on the replay, post those questions like you here for real, okay? Because you are here for real, and we're going to do our best to get those questions answered, all right? Shout out to Jared. Hey, Jared, welcome. All right, so we're not going to tarry too long because we got a lot of information that we want to cover tonight. I just want to remind you all that this is a conversation. Yes, I am giving you information that is valuable, but I need y'all to talk to me too. Okay, I feed off the energy. I need to see y'all up in the chat. I got the chat right here, so I can see what's going on in the chat. I need y'all to communicate with me. Let me know when you understand what it is that I'm saying. Let me know when you don't understand what it is that I'm saying. And definitely ask for clarification if that's what you need. Okay. All right. So we're going to get started off tonight. First of all, by talking about why reels are so important. Okay. Why are reels so important? Well, the first thing is that your reel is really the only opportunity that you have to communicate who you are to the judges. And so the judges, you fill out a whole form when you submit the application. The information that you submit via that form and via your reel is the only information that the judge can use to judge your show, right? To fulfill the judging requirements, which we're going to talk about in a little bit. Okay. So, this is your chance to really show them who you are, to really show them what your show has to offer. It's an opportunity for you to celebrate yourself. Okay. It's an opportunity for you to maybe introduce yourself to a new audience. It's an opportunity for you to let us know who you are and what type of work you produce in this world and in this industry. Okay. It's a great opportunity to be recognized. All right. And so the reel is extremely important because it allows the judges to really give you a fair chance to really get a well-rounded understanding of what it is you have to offer. Okay. So why are reels so important? Because that's how they know who you are. That's how they know what you're bringing to the table. All right. All right. So the next thing that I want to talk about is the judging, excuse me. The next thing I want to talk about is selecting the best category. Okay, selecting the best category for your podcast. Now, this is the thing. In my opinion, the best reels begin with an understanding of the category that you're submitting to, category or categories that you submit to. Okay. It's extremely important that you choose a category that is in alignment with your content so that you give yourself the best opportunity to be nominated and then to go on to win. Okay. We're going to talk about the judging criteria in a second, but one of those criteria is the fitness of the category. Okay. So you want to put some thought into that on the front end. It's extremely important to put some thought into that on the front end. But you can also be creative about what categories you can select because remember, you can apply to up to 5 categories. Okay. You can apply to up to 5 categories. So that's 5 chances to be nominated and then to win a Black Podcasting Award. So you want to apply to as many categories as applicable or as you can rather, so that you really give yourself the best chance to be recognized. Okay. In selecting your category, the first thing that you need to do is read the descriptions. Okay. You can head over to blackpodawards.com, go to the right hand corner to the frequently asked questions or FAQs. Hover, it's going to give you a drop down menu. The first tab on that drop down menu is award categories. Okay. When you go there, you can read the official description for each category in an accordion style window. Okay. Go and read every single category or any categories that you think you might sort of kind of fit into. Okay. Don't count yourself out just because, you can't see yourself in the category initially. Read the description. They give a lot of information about what is included in that category, different types of podcasts that might be included into that category, different genres, different formats, etc., etc. Okay. So there may be a category that you weren't even considering, but once you read the description, you say, you know what? My show does kind of fit in this category. Okay. I can, fit under this. It's justified under this. According to the description, I think it could be a good fit. Okay. So give yourself as many opportunities as possible by reading those descriptions thoroughly. Hallelujah. Read the descriptions thoroughly and see where you fit in and be creative about identifying which categories you might fit into. I find that a lot of podcasters tend to box themselves in like, oh, I'm a sports podcast, right? Like I do sports and that's my thing. So I can only apply for the sports category. But that may not necessarily be the case. If you are a sports category that's based in Canada, then you can also apply for the international category. Okay. If you're based in London, if you're based in Ghana, you can also apply for the international category. If you're a sports podcast that specializes or covers LGBTQ plus sports, then in addition to the sports category, you can also apply in the LGBTQ plus category. Okay. So be creative about how you place your podcast. Some of the categories that you want to consider are, best relationship podcasts. What kind of show, excuse me, what kind of content am I producing that could possibly be a good fit for best relationship podcast? Best, let's see. Let's see, best limited series podcast, best scripted fiction podcast, okay? Best blurred podcast, okay? If you have a science and technology podcast, that's also all about blurred life, you know what I'm saying? Like, we doing this because we some blurs and we out and we proud, all right? Then you can fit into that category as well. So some of the lesser known categories that people might not necessarily immediately gravitate toward, read those descriptions as well and see if there's a fit there. Okay. You want to give yourself the best chance at being nominated first, right? Because the first goal is to get nominated, all right? And then to go on to win. Another tip that I want to give you around category selection is you want to ask yourself, is there alignment with my content in this particular category? Okay, we touched on that a little bit already, but ask yourself, does my content align with this particular category? Because remember, one of the things that they are judging is the fitness of the category. So you want to make sure that you're selecting a great category that's a good fit for your content. Okay. The goal is to give yourself the best choice to be nominated, and that again starts with category selection. All right. I see you, Crystal. Hey, Crystal, out there in the chat. What's going on? All right. So we're going to move on. The next thing that we're going to talk about are the submission requirements. Okay. Submission requirements. This is extremely, extremely important. All of this information, again, can be found on the blackpotawards.com website. Go under the frequently asked questions, actually click FAQ this time, and one of those questions is submission requirements. Okay, so you can find all of this information there. The things that you want to keep in mind, first and foremost, your reel can be up to 5 minutes. Okay, up to 5 minutes. That means not 5.15. That means not 5 minutes and 20 seconds, 5.5 minutes, 5 and 45 seconds, none of that. If your reel exceeds 5 minutes, you will be automatically disqualified. Okay? You will be automatically disqualified. So make sure that you hold to that up to 5 minute time frame. Okay? The other side of that is that it don't have to be a full 5 minutes. I know for a lot of first time podcasters, this is your first show. This is your first time, like maybe producing something or putting something out there. You might find it daunting to find 5 minutes worth of stuff to put into a reel. Okay. It is not necessary that your reel be 5 minutes. Remember, it is up to 5 minutes, which means that if it's less, it's okay. All right. The goal is to put forth the best reel that you can. And if you can put forth your best reel in 2 minutes or 2.5 minutes or 3.5 minutes, then do that. All right. I was a judge for the first 2 years of the Black Podcasting Awards. And let me tell y'all, some of y'all putting stuff in there just to be putting it in, just to say you submitted a 5 minute reel, and that is not necessary. Okay, we're going to talk a little bit more about the content of your reels, but just know that it is not necessary to do a 5 minute reel if you don't have 5 minutes worth of reel to give. Okay, up to 5 minutes. As long as it's not more than 5 minutes, you'll be fine. Okay. All gas, no brakes. I see you in the comments. Are there example reels from previous winners? Yes, there are. We're going to talk a little bit more about that in a few. But the short answer is yes. There are example reels from previous winners. Okay. I want to finish up with these submission requirements before we move on. All right. So Up to 5 minutes on the reels. If you are submitting to a industry specific category, one of our newer categories, best editing, best sound design, best producer, remember the requirement then is 3 reels up to 5 minutes. Okay, 3 separate reels up to 5 minutes for the industry specific categories. All right, not for everybody else, just for the industry specific categories. All of the other categories only require 1 reel. All right, let's talk a little bit about the last thing I want to say about the length of those reels. Look, I got my notes, y'all. The last thing I want to say about the length of those reels, in my opinion, having been a judge 2 years, and also just as a producer, just feeling like I know how these things go. All right. Um, the sweet spot is about 3.5 minutes. Okay. That's the sweet spot. Okay. If you can get it in 3.5 minutes, I think that is more than enough time to really convey who you are and to put something together that gives you a really good chance. Okay. Up to 5 minutes, but 3.5 minutes, I think, is a reasonable and realistic goal for anyone, no matter what stage you're in your podcasting career. All right. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the formats for your submissions. Reels must be in a digital audio format. Okay, they must be in a digital audio format. This includes MP3, M4A, WAV files, or AAC files. Okay, MP3, M4A, WAV files, or AAC files. No other file types will be accepted. Okay, like write that down because it's important. Okay, no other file types will be accepted. Okay, so make sure that you meet that requirement. Now, what does that mean? That means that you can submit just an audio reel. You can submit a video reel if that's what you want to do. The Black Podcasting Awards is open to all podcasts of all formats. So if your podcast is primarily a video podcast, there's nothing wrong with that. Okay, you can still put together a reel from your video podcast. All right, if your podcast takes place on IG Live, if your podcast takes place on YouTube Live, that is not a problem. Okay. You can use that content, put together a reel, and submit it in video format M4A. Okay. So keep that in mind, MP3, M4A, WAV, or AAC files only. Okay. The next requirement is that the audio content included in your reel must be from episodes that were released between May 1st, 2022 and April 30th, 2023. Don't go back to them 2019 episodes talking about here's my reel. Okay? Don't do that. All right? It must be pulled from episodes that were first released, initial release between May 1st, 2022 and April 30th, 2023. That is the time period for eligibility for this year's, for the 2023 Black Podcasting Awards. That is extremely, extremely important. Okay. Your reel must also be in English. No other languages are accepted. And the reason for that is because our judges, the vast majority of our judges speak English. And so the reels need to be in a language that they can understand. Okay. So the reels must be in English. However, as I stated earlier, They can be produced anywhere in the world. Okay, they can be produced anywhere in the world. All right, all right, the world. Okay, all right, all right. So that's it for our reel requirements. Okay, up to 5 minutes, one reel for the majority of podcast categories, three reels for industry specific categories: editing, producer, and sound design. You must have MP3, M4A, WAVE, or AAC files, and they must be in English, and they must be from episodes which were first released between May 1st, 2022 and April 30th of 2023. Hi, Ashley. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. Welcome, welcome. All right, y'all. Y'all with me? Y'all still with me? If y'all still with me, go ahead and give me some hallelujah hands, please, in the chat. Let me know you're still with me. Hey, girl, I'm here. Okay. Hey, girl, I'm here. All right. Here we go. The next thing we're going to talk about is judging criteria. Hey, culture driven. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. All right. The next thing we're going to talk about is the judging criteria. It's extremely important for you to understand how your reels and your submissions are being judged. Okay. Because essentially you want to play to the things that you know that they are looking for. Knowing how what the judging criteria is allows you to be very intentional about what you include and what you choose to leave out. Okay. So the judging criteria is as follows. Once again, this information can be found on blackpodawards.com under the frequently asked questions or FAQs in the upper right hand corner of the website. Click on FAQs, and this is one of the questions on the FAQs. Okay. The judging criteria has 7 different sections. Okay. The first section is the length of the reel. As I stated earlier, if your reel is longer than 5 minutes, you will be automatically disqualified. Okay. And if you are automatically disqualified for that, that's on you, homie. That's not on us. All right. That's on you. All right. Don't shoot yourself in the foot before you even get it in the door. Okay. Make sure that your reels are under 5 minutes. Okay. Or 5 minutes or less, we'll say. So the first judging criteria is the length of reel. Is it 5 minutes or less? The second judging criteria is the category appropriateness. We talked about this a little bit earlier as well. I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail right now because I think we talked about that in exhaust when we talked about the category selection. But what I will just remind you is that choosing appropriate categories is important, not only because it helps you to kind of steer the direction of your reel because you want to play toward those categories, right? You want to make the case that you're a good fit for that category, but also because the judges are scoring you on it. So it needs to be clear in your reel that your podcast squarely fits into this category. And even, I'm not going to necessarily say squarely, but that it fits into this category. Okay. You want to make sure that you are communicating that in the reel, in the types of clips that you select, in the type of music that you select, so forth and so on, which shouldn't be that difficult because if you're applying to that category, it's because your content already fits, right? You found yourself in that category. You were able to see your content when you read that description, okay, in that category. So that should not be a lofty task to make sure that you're choosing appropriate categories. The third judging criteria is sound quality, okay, which, duh, right? It's podcasting awards. It's podcasting awards. Of course, they are listening to the sound quality. Of course, they want to know that you've put effort into your sound quality. And we're going to talk a little bit more in a few minutes about how to up your sound quality and what some, best practices and tips and things like that on how to get the best sound quality. But just know it is important because it is one of the things that you are being judged on. Okay. All right. The fourth judging criteria is clear intent. Okay. Clear intent. Essentially, what this means is that we can see and understand what your show is all about. What is your show intended to do? Is this an educational show? Is this, a culture show? Is this something that is, news and information? Is this like what is the intention of the show? We should be able to determine that, or the judges rather, because I'm not a judge, but the judges should be able to determine that from listening to your reel. Okay, this is who I am. This is what I bring to the table. This is the kind of content that I'm offering up. This is the kind of work that I'm putting out into the world. It should be very clear. Your perspective should be very clear. Okay. Again, we're gonna talk about that how to make it clear in just a few minutes. Y'all hang in there with me, okay? The fifth judging criteria is appeal and likability. Okay, appeal and likability. All right. Now this is twofold. We're talking about the appeal of the show itself. That does not mean, however, that your show has to fit into a certain type of box of like what would please the masses. What that's not what we're looking for. We're looking at how engaging is your show, right? Even if it's a slower paced kind of show, like maybe you're discussing a serious topic, right? And so it doesn't make sense for it to be all like rah rah and just hype hype hype. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that, right? As long as the show is still engaging, right? That as long as you can still capture the attention of the audience, okay? And culture driven, you are absolutely right. Culture driven says that's key. Whether or not you're submitting for an award, intention should be clear for every new listener, no matter which episode they start on. And you hit the nail on the head, really and truly. And all I was gonna say when I got to the other sections and the other areas, everything that we're talking about tonight, it's more than just reels. Like these are things that you should be considering in the production of your podcast. This is how you create an award-winning podcast, right? Paying attention to these details, paying attention to the things that the judges are going to be looking at. The judges are looking at those things because those things are important, right? Those things are the markers of an award winning podcast. All right. So yes, you're right on target there. All right. So again, number five, appeal and likability. How engaging are you? How engaging is your content? Are you able to draw them in, regardless of what your topic in, whatever drawing them in looks like for you? Are you communicating that and pulling the audience in? Okay, making us want more. All right, that's what you want to communicate. The sixth judging criteria is uniqueness. Okay, uniqueness. Again, as I said, it's not about putting yourself into a box or like putting your podcast into the machine. We don't want every podcast to sound the same or to have the same format. We're not looking for, what has necessarily won in the past. We want what you're bringing to the table. We want to be able to clearly see that you have your own thing going on. You have your own style. You want to communicate what your style is and what sets you apart from everybody else in your category. Okay? What makes your true crime show the best true crime show? What makes your blurred podcast the best blurred podcast? Okay. You want to make sure that you show us or show the judges what makes you stand out. What is the thing that you have that nobody else has? All right. And how do you communicate that in your reel? And then the seventh and final judging criteria is creativity. And this kind of goes hand in hand with literally everything else on the list. We want to see how creative you are. That creativity can come in the form of perspective, right? Maybe you're discussing a topic that's a common topic, but you're looking at it from a very creative angle. You're giving us a creative perspective on how to do that, okay? If you're teaching people, maybe you're giving them tips in a way that they never thought about it before, or you're presenting that in a way that is new and creative and fresh, okay? Your sound design, how creative is your sound design? Are you giving us unexpected moments? Are you giving us, those moments where it's like, damn, that was good, right? Like that was so creative, like, and not like the TikTok lady. Everybody's so creative. We're talking about real creativity here, right? You want to convey that in that reel as well because the judges are looking at it, okay? So, once again, judging criteria, 7 judging criteria: length of reel, category appropriateness, sound quality, clear intent, appeal and likability, uniqueness, and creativity. Those are the 7 judging criteria. So now that you know that, you can apply that information to the content and the structure and production of your reel. So let's talk about how do you create an award-winning reel. Now I already gave y'all a bunch of little tips and things like that. Hopefully, if you had your pen and paper, you was writing that down, okay, and you was taking notes, and you was like, your brain is moving, and you like, oh, I know what I could do for this, I know what I could do for that, okay. And I'm going to help, hopefully, to try to ground that a little bit more for you and give you some real tangible steps that you can take to actually produce your reel, okay. So the first thing that I want to, yes, Crystal, get them notes. Listen, y'all see that pen and paper? Crystal got that pen and paper. It could even be a digital pen and paper. Okay, make that happen. Okay. All right. So the first step in producing outside of after you select your category, right? Because that's the first step, right? You selected your categories, you up to 5, right? So you're like, okay, these are my categories. This is where I'm going to be focusing my attention in terms of trying to get a win here. Okay. Once you select those categories, you want to start selecting your clips. Okay. You want to start selecting your clips. Ideally, you're going to have 3 to 4 clips in your reel. Okay. That 3 to 4 need to display everything that we talked about. So you want to be very intentional about selecting the perfect clips. All right. Read those descriptions. What is it that they're looking for? Do I have a clip that displays this thing? Okay. Do I have a clip that communicates that this category is appropriate for my content? All right. Do I have a clip that highlights my sound design or highlights my engagement in the way that I pull the audience in? Do I have a clip that highlights my script writing? Right? That shows that my script writing is very intentional, that my host is fire, okay? That my storyline is engaging and interesting and creative, right? You only have up to 5 minutes. All right. You only have up to 5 minutes. And like I said, a great reel can probably get it done in about 3.5 minutes. So you have to be very, very intentional about what you allow the judge to hear. You want to make sure that when you are selecting those clips, that you're selecting them with intent and with purpose. What is this clip intended to convey? And why is that important? Why do I need to convey this thing? And what is the most creative way to convey this thing? Selecting your clips is not the time to be abstract, okay? You got to hit us with your best stuff. This is a highlight reel, all right? This is a highlight reel. I like to say a reel is kind of like a cross between a trailer and an ad for your show. Okay. It's like a cross between a trailer and an ad. So you want to inform them of who you are, what your like what they can expect from your content, what kind of content you create, what kind of quality you create, etc., etc. But you're also trying to sell them on more, right? You want them to leave that reel after listening to that reel and be like, "Oh Lord, that was good. I think I want to listen to this show." I cannot tell you how many shows I have added to my personal podcast rotation because I listened to their reel as a judge. Okay. Shows that are still in my podcast rotation because they had such a great reel. I wanted to learn more, I wanted to hear more. Okay. That is the goal. That is the goal. So when you're selecting your content, when you're selecting your clips, you want to be as intentional as possible. You want to make sure that that audio is clean. If there are multiple guests or multiple hosts, multiple people talking, you want to make sure that you don't want to choose a clip where it's all chaos and we can't hear what's going on and it's difficult to hear, it's difficult on the ear. Okay? Be very purposeful and very intentional about the clips that you include in your reel. Think outside of the box about the different types of reels that you provide. So again, like I said, if you have different segments for your show, then you might want to pull a reel from each one of, like pull a clip rather from each one of those segments. So it's like you're taking us through a little mini episode, right? In those 3.5 to 4 or 5 minutes, right? You're giving us a taste of each one of those segments, but it is the hottest take from each one of those segments from out of all of the episodes that I've produced within this eligible time period. I want only the best. It's hot takes only. Don't put nothing mediocre up there. Okay. Hot takes only. This is the best that I have to offer. A little pro tip here is that when you're thinking about selecting your clips, survey your audience, the people who listen to your show. It's a really great opportunity for you to get engaged with your audience, get engaged with your community, and ask them, what was your favorite clip? What was your favorite episode, right? It never hurts to start with the favorite episode. Which one of your episodes has the most downloads, the most listens, the most listened through, the highest listen through rate, right? It has that because people naturally gravitated, your community, your audience naturally gravitated toward those episodes. Those are great places to start looking for clips to include in your reels because you already have proof that that particular content in that particular episode is effective. Okay. All right. The next thing that you want to do in creating an award winning reel is you want to make sure that you pay attention to the sound design. Again, this is twofold. You have the sound design of the show itself, right? So when you're cutting these clips, you want to make sure that the clips make sense, right? So you don't want to leave a clip, like you don't want to cut a clip off in a place that feels awkward, right? you are telling a story, right? You're telling a story of your podcast. Or if it's an industry specific category, you're telling the story of your work, of you, right? And so you want to make sure that you are positioning those clips and the start and end times of every one of those clips and the spacing between clips. Do I do a little bit of script here, and then I'm going to do a clip, and then I'll do a little bit more script, and then I do another little clip. It needs to flow well. That is editing and sound design. Okay. If you're going to add additional sound design like background music, right? If your show doesn't normally have background music, but you want to tie your reel together with some background music, pay attention to your levels. Again, in reels and in life. Okay. Pay attention to your levels, please. You can use resources like Auphonic, Auphonic. Auphonic is a software, a internet software that allows you to level your tracks, your episode. It makes sure that everybody, that everything that comes out of the podcast, all of your sound is at the same level, is consistent, not some high here, some low here. That's difficult on the ears. Nobody want to hear all of that. Okay. And with Auphonic, you can get up to 2 hours of free uploads and, well, free processing per month. Okay. So it can more than handle a 5-minute reel. Okay. And that's a free 2 hours. And then you can purchase additional upload time if you need it. Okay. But I use Auphonic. It's a great tool. Get into it. Okay. Make sure that your audio is clean. Again, you don't want audio that's a little fuzzy or anything like that. And then also make sure that the music makes sense. Make sure that that the story you're telling, that everything is cohesive, that it goes together. If you have a podcast that's about, sad and dreary, okay, it don't make sense for you to have Nuck If You Buck on the background track. Okay. And I'm being facetious, you know what I'm saying? But you get the point. You get the point. Set the tone with your sound design. You are pulling the judge in. You are bringing them into your world, and you want to use every opportunity to do that. At the same time, n- know when to hold back a little bit. Okay, know when to hold back a little bit. You don't have to put it in there just for the sake of putting it in there. If it does not make sense for what it is you're trying to communicate, it don't have no business being there. Okay? Edit yourself. Edit your vision. Make sure, like, I like to listen to it. I'm listening to it as I'm putting it together because I can hear it in my head, right? So I'm trying to create what I hear in my head, right? So I'm playing with it and I'm doing stuff and I'm editing it and I'm putting it together. And then I'm going to sit it down for maybe a day or two, right? A couple hours, 12 hours or something like that, right? I'm going to put that down for a little bit so I can come back to it with fresh ears. Because sometimes when you're in that thing, you can't really hear where something might need to change. So put it together the way you want it, put it together the way you think it needs to be, right? And then put it down, set it to the side for just a day or two, okay? And then come back to it and listen with fresh ears and edit again, tweak it, okay? Tweak it a little bit more until you get it to where you need it to be, okay? Let's get into these comments. Culture Driven says, Alphonic is amazing. I agree. Saves so much time with mixing and mastering. Absolutely. I have, a couple projects that I'm working on that I do the editing and sound design on those projects as well. Not all of my projects, but I have some that I do. And Alphonic has been amazing. I do a lot of the stuff on the front end. I do like some noise cancellation, like I clean it up. The better the quality of the audio that you put into Alphonic, the better the better the quality of the audio that you get out. Okay. So I do make an effort to try to clean it up as much as I can and do my part to give it the best chance at being great. Okay. And Alphonic just kind of can take it to the next level. If you're like me, where like I'm a producer who edits, but I'm not an editor. Okay. And so I know how to edit, but my editing skills are enough to get my point across, right? And so Alphonic really helps to give it that polish. And I appreciate that, especially when I don't have no money to hire a sound design person or editor or something like that. All right. Crystal says, and make sure you're not using copyrighted, non licensed music as a bed. Absolutely, Crystal. Thank you so much for pointing that out. You did not pay for Nuck If You Buck to be your backing track. Listen, and they coming for their money, okay? They coming for their money. Don't think that they won't. Okay, they coming for their money. So make sure, as Crystal has highlighted, that you are not using copyrighted, non-licensed music as the bid for your reel or for your podcast episodes. Okay, this is a thing across the board. Get into it. There are lots of websites that you can go to. Epidemic Sound is one that just is off the top of my head. That's the one that I tend to go to most often. That actually offers royalty free, royalty free music that you can use in your podcast, in your content without any legal issues. Okay. Royalty free music is what you're looking for. Okay. If you're using something that is copyrighted or that is licensed, you want to make sure that you follow the necessary legal steps to make that appropriate. Okay. Yes, Nuck If You Buck. Okay. Listen, don't let the cute face fool you now. I like to do hood rat things with my friends. Okay. Okay. All right. Hey, Ty. Shout out to Ty. What's going on? All right. Hi, Booker. Booker says, loving this. Thank you. Absolutely. Ty says, I'm definitely a producer who edits. I respect the craft too much. Absolutely. Absolutely. And lightweight. Adele and I talked about this last week, but every producer should know how to edit. You don't need to know how to edit to the point of like being an editor. Like you don't necessarily need to know how to put all the finishing touches and, like elevate it to the next level. But every producer should know how to edit the basics of editing, because it makes you a better producer. Okay. And it makes you easier to work with if we're going to be all the way real about it. Okay. All right. All right. So let me check my notes. What else I got for y'all? I think I pretty much went over everything. The last thing that I want to talk about, and y'all get those questions ready, start typing those questions into the chat. If you have any follow-up questions, go ahead and type those into the chat. The last thing that I want to share with you all is just some additional resources that you can utilize, because we recognize, we understand that everybody don't have money or a huge budget or a budget at all, to do these things. And so you're coming out of pocket to make these things happen. A lot of times you're doing the work yourself, and you're trying to figure it out and figure out how to put your best foot forward. And so I just wanted to put you all on a few resources. We already talked about Alphonic. Once again, you get 2 hours a month free on Alphonic, and that's for auto leveling and cleaning up your audio, really kind of putting that finishing touch on your audio. 2 hours per month free, auphonic.com, AUPHONIC. If you do have a little bit of money that you could scrape together, there are some websites that you can go to hire someone for this particular project, to help you out for relatively cheap. So for about anywhere from $25 to $50, you can hire a editor on Upwork or on Fiverr, Fiverr. VERR. They have professionals on there who are trying to get their business off the ground, trying to get things started, or just trying to build a little side hustle. Maybe they have a full-time job and this is just side hustle money for them, right? And so they're not charging what their full rate would be. Okay, but they still can produce quality content for $25 to $50 if you have it to spare. What I will say is that if you hire somebody off of Upwork, Fiverr, or anywhere else that you might consider hiring someone, you want to make sure that you check their references, you want to check their ratings. I always like to go with someone that has, at least 20 to 25 ratings, because for me, I just feel like if you have 25 people that you've worked with that felt compelled enough to want to, say you did a good damn job, you know what I'm saying? And you must be all right. Okay. So always check the ratings, because if you only got $50, you need to make sure you're getting your money's worth. Okay. And so do a little bit of research on the front end. I also say that you want to make sure that your communication with that individual is clear. Tell them what you're looking for, what's the vibe, what's the clips. Give them time codes, right? This clip needs to be from the 20 minutes and 32.569 seconds all the way to 20 minutes and 56.875 seconds. Okay. Be as specific as humanly possible. Okay. It is your vision. You are asking them to bring your vision to life, which means that it is your responsibility to clearly communicate the vision and to give them all of the tools that they need to be successful in giving you that vision. Okay. So make sure that your communication is top notch. All right. Make sure that you are letting them know what you need, how you want it, and make sure that you get at least one round of revisions, ideally 2 rounds of revisions. But at the 20 to 25 to $50 mark price point, two revisions might be stretching it a little bit. Okay, I'm gonna just be real. But you can at least get 1 round of revisions. That is non-negotiable, because if you don't like what they give you the first time, you need to be able to give them feedback and have them do it again. Okay, or just make some changes. Okay. Another tip that I have for you all is listen to past reels. I know we had a question about this earlier. Once you submit your application, once you submit your application, you will have access to reels from past winners. Okay, now remember, the application process is twofold. You have to have that's like started your application and paid for your application fee for your categories. All right. And to kind of get that process started. I believe that is Demetrius here. I don't have that date in front of me. That's the one date that I did not write down, and I can't recall. Y'all, my child is calling me. Cambria, mommy's working, baby. Okay, I'm gonna call you back. I love you. You're gonna tell the people hi. Say hi. Okay. All right, my baby. I'm gonna call you back. I love you. Bye, baby. I'm sorry, y'all. My child called me 3 times. I needed to make sure she was all right. Okay. She was gonna keep calling too until I answered. But anyway, what are you gonna do? But anyway, once you complete that first part, you pay for you put in your initial submission, you pay for your categories, you start that process of your application. You then have access to the reels of past winners. Okay, I strongly encourage you to listen to some of those reels, specifically the reels in the categories that you are considering applying for. Okay, because it'll give you a feel for what an award winning reel sounds like. Again, that does not mean that you have to fit into that box or that you have to make your reel sound exactly like that. It is for inspiration purposes only to kind of put you on the right track, to kind of get those juices flowing and figure out what your vibe is and what style of reel you want to put together. Okay. Listen to those class reels, it makes a difference. And then the last tip that we have for you is be smart about your reel and how you put that reel together, because you can repurpose that content. Okay. If you are, investing your time and energy and money into creating an award winning reel, you want to be able to use that multiple times. Okay. And you can use that reel in your social media. You can break the reel up and use that in the social media. You can use that reel for sponsorship pitches. You can use that reel for partnership pitches and brand deal pitches and things like that, to kind of give people a little taste of what you got going on. Okay. Because remember, it's part trailer, part ad, right? And so it serves that purpose. All right. So when you're creating that reel, you want to think about something that's going to give you some longevity, something that you can use. This is my reel for the entire year. And all of my partnerships and all of the things, all of the brand deals and all of the sponsorships that I'm going after, I'm going to use this reel as proof of concept, as proof of the pudding, as they say. Okay. So be very intentional about how you're putting that together. All right. And that's all I got for y'all. I don't see no questions. I'm going to assume that means that I did such an amazing and awesome job that y'all just don't have no questions, because I answered all of the questions before you even put them out there. Right, Corey? That's what that means.
Come on, y'all. You got to have questions. This is the perfect opportunity to ask.
Listen, it's okay
I
if they
mean,
don't have questions.
you know, or just
Listen,
maybe do
I
a great
used to
job
feel
at explaining everything.
bad. Thank you. I used to feel bad when nobody had questions, because I used to be like, oh man, like they don't feel comfortable, they don't feel safe in X, Y, and Z. But sometimes it really is, they just don't have no questions. And I kind of see that as a badge of honor on the cool. Okay. All right. Dominic says, thank you for doing this. You are very welcome, Dominic. Dominic, I've been doing some work on my office, been trying to get my life together, Dominic. You know what I'm saying? And my office was very chaotic. So I was working on my office and getting my things together in the office. And guess what I was listening to? I was listening to Dominic Lawson. I sure was. I sure was. I was like, okay, let me check it out. All things basketball, I believe that
Yeah,
says
the
this has
GD.
been extremely helpful. Thank you. You are very welcome. Thank you. Eric says she did do a great job. Well, Eric, I'm a Leo, Eric. Flattery will get you everywhere. Okay. So thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. All right. So, last reminder that I want to give you all, well, two things. First of all, the discounted prices for the category fees have been extended through July 17th. Okay. So you can apply for $40 per category through July 17th. Okay. It's the perfect time to do it, because that fee is going to go up to $60, I believe it is, on July 18th. So if you know you're going to apply, you're going to put that in anyway, go ahead and get the process started. You can start your application, pay your category fees, and then you can come back to it and finish your submission. Okay. Don't forget to come back now. It's just like Madame Zeroni. Y'all watch Holes. That's one of my favorite movies. Don't forget to come back for Madame Zeroni. Okay. Do not forget to come back for Madame Zeroni. Because if you only start the application but never submit the final application, you have not submitted yourself for consideration. Okay. Which means that your podcast will not be considered for the categories. So start your application, pay your application fee So you get in at the discounted rate of $40 per category, and then get your stuff together, get your clips together, put your reel together. Okay. You have until July 31st for your final submission to finish the job. Okay. On top of that $40, that ongoing discount of $40 per category, we're going to give you an additional $5 off if you use my special code win with Latrice 23. So WINWLATRICE 23. That will give you an additional $5 off per category. Okay. An additional $5 off. So why not? That's $35 per category. That you're not going to find that anywhere else. Okay. Then keep your receipt and head on over to Podcasting Seriously and ask for your money back. Okay. Because the Podcasting Seriously Fund will reimburse you for award submission fees. You pay that up front, keep your receipt, get it back.
I was hoping you was going to
Okay?
promote that. I was hoping you was going to promote that. I just want to. Can I just post
Yes.
here real quick? I need people to understand
Yes.
too, because when they hear the $40 or the $60 or whatever the price is per category, the Black Podcasting Awards submission fees are some of the cheapest you'll ever find out there. We have some people in the chat that can tell you how much some of these fees are actually cost you, and it's a couple of hundreds of dollars depending on which award show you're applying to.
Absolutely.
So don't look at the fee as like, oh my God, they're trying to take my money. There's a lot of there's a lot of award shows out there that charge you upwards of $100 or more. So this is a great opportunity.
240, 150,
Yep.
like, yeah,
Per
yeah,
category or per submission. So this is a great
per
opportunity,
submission.
and you get the reimbursement from podcasting. It's Podcasting Seriously Fund. So you're basically doing it
Yes.
for free.
For free. For free. Why not? But don't get it twisted, because I always like to be very clear about this. The category fees being as low as they are is by design, because we want to make sure that we eliminate as many of the barriers as possible for our community to get the recognition that they deserve. But don't get it twisted, okay? Don't get it twisted. To be nominated for and or win a Black Podcasting Award is a high honor. Okay. This is being recognized by your people. We have strict judging criteria. I already went over that with y'all. Okay. Strict why I keep saying judging criteria. We take the process very serious in order to ensure the validity of each win year after year after year. Okay. So the fee is not indicative of the value of the win. Okay. Let's be clear about that. It's actually indicative of our commitment to the Black podcasting community and wanting to make sure that money is not a barrier if it doesn't have to be. All right. All right, y'all. So go forth and create these award winning reels. I know you can do it. I know you have it in you. We, kind of took a little sneak peek at some of the reels, and they are amazing. We have so many amazing and talented individuals in this community. And I can't wait. I can't wait to start reading off these names. When you win, my voice going to be the voice you hear. I'm going to be the one that calls off that win for you. And I'm very much looking forward to that. Okay. So give yourself the best chance you have. If you have any more questions, you can post them here, or you can jump in the DMs at Black Pod Awards on Instagram, or you can jump in my DMs at Latrice Sampson-Richards on Instagram. Corey, you want to add anything?
No, I just want to thank you for this. There was a lot of confusion last year, so I'm glad you guys have been more active with doing this and answering people's questions and providing the resource over the past year. So and I'm looking forward. You guys did a great production last year, and I'm looking forward to seeing some of these people who I know personally, as well as just out there, seeing them compete and enjoy. And I also want to add that the judging team, like these are not just anybody. It's not just anybody that's a judge. These are people who are in the industry, who are experienced. So it's not this is not some fly by night organization or anything like that. So I just want to thank you guys for this, and thanks everybody for being here. Will there be a replay? Yep. As soon as this is over on our channel right here, you
Hey,
can
Lindsay.
get the
Hi,
replay.
Lindsay.
So um, definitely thank you for this, Latrice. Thank you everybody for joining us and coming in and asking the questions during the feed. But if you do have any questions, feel free to reach out to Latrice and the team at Black Podcasting Awards, on their socials, as well as Latrice on hers. And I look forward. Make sure, remember July 17th, right? That's when you get the $40 submission plus the five.
July 17th, $40 through July 17th. Yes, yes. And then $60 starting July 18th. And you
Right.
have until submission applications close July 31st. So get to it.
Yeah, start your submit your application for your category. So podcasting
Yes,
series.
all gas, no breaks. It is podcasting seriously fund.
Yeah.
Podcasting seriously fun. Hi, Charles. Charles, it is open to anyone, anywhere in the world. If you are a Black podcaster, you can apply for the Black Podcasting Awards. We actually also have a Best International Podcast category, but that doesn't mean that that's the only category you can apply to if you're an internationally produced podcast. You can also apply to whatever category your podcast fits into otherwise. Okay. So, yes, it has to be in English, but it can be produced anywhere in the world. Yeah.
And
All right.
I
All right.
will
That's all I got.
yeah, I'll add the some links to the BPA, as well as to podcasting seriously, in the chat on YouTube. So if you're watching this, go to our YouTube channels at the Black Podcasters Association, or you can just search for us, and you can watch the replay on there or whatever other platform we are streaming on. So again, thank you, Latrice. I really appreciate you being here. Thank you everybody for checking in, and uh, everyone have a good night. And I look forward to seeing people get nominated in a month or two. So
Yes, and don't keep all this information for yourself. Share it with a friend.
oh yeah, pass it
Tell
on.
somebody who knows somebody.
All right.
Okay, pass it
And
on.
just so you know, also if you go to blackpodawards.com, sign up for their newsletter, because they constantly giving out information on the newsletter as well. So if that'll also help you
Yeah.
keep up to date with all the information if you don't see it on the social. So make sure you check that out as well. All right, Latrice. Well, I'm gonna let you go, and I'm gonna let everybody else go. Have a good night. Thank you again, and everyone. Good luck with your submissions.
Good luck. Good luck. I hope to see your name on the screen as nominated, and I hope to read your name as a winner. It would give me joy. Okay.
All right, guys. Have a good night.